all of the trendy stuff. And that was from a place of like psychotic delusion and just like kind of like
preview.
Icicle.
With the great one here with Velvet Vibes. We got a bad motherfucker in here by the name of PaintItBlues. We about to get ready to talk about it. We're not gonna hit you with none of that weak ass. How did you rap? What made you rap stuff? We know the guy raps. Let's get to the shits today. So I want to start right here, man. First off, PaintItBlues. I gotta say, we don't have a little Pookie or a little. How did this name come about?
At first I was just Blues actually, but I did like a bunch of stuff under that name and like a bunch of other names too. Like I've done some collaborative efforts like with other people, but I just kind of actually transitioned to PaintItBlues as like the full like mononym recently, just because it was really hard for people to like find my stuff and separate it from like the blues genre. Which I was like super ecstatic about at first, because I was like, yeah, that's what I do, like that's kind of the type of stuff that I make. But then also like everybody and their mom was coming up like before I was, so for like SEO and like search engine optimization and stuff, I know that's a taboo. You're not supposed to talk about that stuff in the industry, but like, you know, that's for that stuff. For that stuff, I was like, well, also like let me have the name too. And I already had the Twitter handle, and everybody was like, hey, PaintItBlues, right? And I was like, yeah. So that works. I mean, but I have like 50 other aliases also. So it's like most people know me by my Instagram handle. They're like, Little Bicycle. They're like, yo. I'm like, oh,
you know what is so crazy? The last time I saw you, and after we got to the point that I realized I've seen you before, then I had come across another video, one of those thriller, what is it? And when I seen it, I was like, oh, I saw that the day before I saw you. So then I was like, oh yeah, so this guy's
that's crazy. That's tight.
So yeah, whatever you're doing, you're definitely optimizing properly online.
Trying.
So, man, would you say there are any misconceptions of you with the name as far as what they probably think you do, or just any misconceptions of you, period?
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Like, if like people in San Antonio know, like I was born and like raised on the east side, so like there's a stigma about like east side niggas and shit. Like, oh, he's crazy. And then like I've kind of just always been super cultured, so like I just don't like to put myself in a box, so people are just like, oh, like fuck this nigga did this, or like this nigga did that, and I'm like, well, like yeah, but like that day I did that. Like it's like a whole, like life is like a whole like ongoing like cycle of like cause and effect, you know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? Like if like it's just hard to explain. Like when people try to peg you as like one kind of like this one dimensional person, it kind of just like bothers me. Like one big thing was like my sexuality, because people were just like, oh, this nigga's like super feminine, he's like flamboyant, or like that viral video where I did the makeup, they're like, this nigga gay. And I was like,
I bet you heard a bunch of that after.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It's crazy because like recently, and this is like the first time that I've actually got to talk about this like openly, probably. I guess this is like an exclusive for you. So like this is the first, right? This is the first time that like it's come out of my own mouth into like the media, I guess. But like I just did Pride Fest, what was it, 2 weeks ago, like at the end of June or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've always been super supportive of like the LGBTQ culture, just because like I have a sister who's now my brother. And like a bunch of different stuff like that. Like I've always been like this very open-minded, like accepting person, kind of going against like the hood stigma. So like recently I kind of like, when I was at Pride, I kind of just decided to like let people know like, hey, I'm like gender queer. And like in layman's terms, in like niggas terms, and like that one-dimensional ideology, it's like it means I'm bisexual, but like that's not what it means. It just means like I have a different like way of identifying with myself and like my, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I feel you.
It's weird. So that's like one thing that I was just like, people don't really like get about that, because it's like 2019 and we're taught to be like so progressive, but then like we also still have certain people in presidential and political positions that aren't as progressive.
You can talk about it. We know what this gentleman's name is.
No, I can't, man. Some I like politics, man. I don't have nothing wrong with a lot of people, man. I like everybody. I'm like involved in the community and stuff too. I know like a lot. I had a picture with the mayor on my Instagram, but I think I deleted it. Like I ran into him.
Oh wow.
No, I had a picture with the last two mayors. So like when we had Ivy Taylor and then like Nierenberg, I bumped into him outside of my gym because I guess he was having like a voting rally at like the church or something.
Oh wow.
And I was just like, hey dude, what's up?
He remembered you and everything?
Nah, I hadn't met him yet.
Oh wow.
So like I met Ivy Taylor. I knew her because she's like East Side, like District 2. That's the homie.
Okay.
Like she knew my grandma.
Oh wow.
But Nierenberg, like he's kind of from a different place, but I'd see him like in the community, like downtown, and like doing stuff like when I'm like banking or just like commuting or whatever. But like I bumped into him and he was like, oh dude, like I was like, oh, can I get a picture? And like they were taking press pictures. So it looked super cool that I just like came out of the gym and like, of course, like reaching out to the kind of pandering demographic. He was like, oh, this guy's a face tat. And then he grabbed me and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So tell me this, would you consider yourself, because I think there's people that are really different, and now that everybody's doing the things that people
think are different,
think that are different now, in order to be different, you have to be super different. Yeah. So then this is how you get Uzi Verts and stuff like it. To me, I think, so if you dye your hair green, you dye your hair green, it's not so different because everybody's doing it. So you got to go extra. Would you consider yourself to be as different, that different, or would you consider yourself to be a troll?
I definitely am different. Like, cause here's the thing, like before we were everybody, all the SoundCloud people, like all the artists, like my peers, I wouldn't even say SoundCloud artists anymore.
Okay.
Before all my peers were popping, I had like done all of the trendy stuff. And that was from a place of like psychotic delusion and just like kind of like desperate like screams for help, like when they say like when you check on a girl if she changed her hair, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That was me like every time I changed my hair, and I had like every kind of color dreads before we saw anybody do it, and they was like, this nigga is weird, and I was like, yeah, like whatever. Like
now you gotta go the extra mile, right?
No, now it's crazy because as I've grown, it's kind of the opposite. It's like we kind of overlook the people that put a microscope on real life, and like the intricacies of like real life are what are like really important, because that's where you find like the most like sustenance, the most value. Because 9 times out of 10, like all of this stuff is like smoke and mirrors. The entertainment, it's like, oh cool, like he's rapping like 24/7. This is all he does. But then in reality, like you have to be a real human, or you have nothing to even like emulate. You have nothing to like feel. You know what I mean? So it's like I just put like my EP Angel puts out last month, July 7th. Actually, no, June 7th. Yeah. Okay. June 7th? June 7th. Mm-hmm. And then, it's crazy because like I haven't been in a situation to go back to the studio because I don't have the necessity. Like I tell people all the time, I had to like live with that project and like create it and like self-analyze and like psychoanalyze myself.
So you was very involved and stuff.
Yeah. To where like now I like don't have anything to talk about. Like if I go in the studio, it's just like I don't know what I feel yet. Like I have to go grab some more experiences.
Let life happen.
Yeah, like, and that's what people try to like forget. They try to like dramatize and emulate all of this like illusions of grandeur. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm doing all this crazy stuff, but then like in reality, like, are you like, you know what I mean? Like some niggas like have to pay child support and like, you know what I mean? Like I get behind. I pay child support. I'm behind. I'm not gonna lie to you. So like I'd rather, take care of that. And like I just recently like partnered with my business partners to like to establish my LLC and like my business account, like operating everything. Salute. And just like a bunch of stuff like that like people don't ever think about when it comes to capitalizing on like being so extra. And then kind of trying to be the example of like, this isn't extra. You know what I mean? This is real life, but like extra people can do real life things. You know what I mean?
I'll feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.